So about 3 days ago was the official anniversary of my first year riding. Let's see how many miles I have. Here it says about 22,600. That's mostly accurate. I changed my front sprocket and went down a tooth at about 15,000 miles. So that means that my speedometer says I'm going faster than what I'm going, and because it says I'm going faster than what I'm going, it's also saying that I'm getting more miles than what I'm actually getting put on the engine. If I had to estimate, I'd say it's probably in between the 21 or 22 range. I don't know if it's really that significant on the miles. I know it is with the speedometer. It has been a hell of a year. Just the fact that I'm not fucking dead right now is amazing. And I don't want to be grim or morose or anything, but a lot has happened over the course of the past year, good and bad. I've had a lot of close calls. I've had one low side. I've dropped the bike twice from standing. One of them was my fault because I had a broken foot and I was trying to ride and the bike fell on top of me. Bruh. And the other was just, I'm not really sure what happened. I was at a gas station and I put my helmet on top of the bike and the bike fell over. So don't park your bike on an incline. When I first bought the bike, I got it from Clausen Motorsports in Fresno. I was pretty sure that I was going to buy a used CBR 600. That's what I had my eyes set on for a long time. I've always loved CBRs. Gixxers are okay. I didn't really have an opinion on them when I first saw them. Like, I thought they looked good, but at the same time they're super popular, so I was kind of like, well, I don't really want to get something that everyone else has, but it's really not as common as I thought it was now that I have it. One thing that's really changed is I have a great appreciation on life now that I didn't have before I got the motorcycle. And as strange as that sounds, for those of you that haven't ridden before, riding a motorcycle is very therapeutic. There's just something about it that I just can't put into words. The feeling you get when you're doing wheelies, the feeling of the wind blowing across your body, the feeling of being at the front of the line every time, being able to pay less for parking and park closer than anyone else at Fresno State. Traffic is like almost never an issue anymore, which it was for me for the longest time. Fuel economy is awesome. It's just really fucking fun. Going from point A to point B is not the same on a bike as it is in a car. In a car, it's fucking boring, man. You're stuck in line, you can't go anywhere, you feel kind of trapped, you're kind of stuck in a cage. It's almost like you're a prisoner to your car.
Aside.
Good. When you're in a car, going from point A to point B sucks because you can't wait for the trip to be over. But when you're on a bike, going from point A to
surprise, motherfucker,
point B is so much fun. You actually want the trip to keep going. It makes you feel one with the road, one with your vehicle, one with the commute. You just feel so much more just part of the journey, you know? I was very hesitant about getting the bike. I knew I wanted one. There's a difference between wanting one and having one and riding one on a daily basis, because I don't have a car. All I have is this fucking bike, and for the most part, other than groceries and really, really bad rain and cold, I wouldn't have it any other way. It's very doable in Fresno. The one thing this motorcycle has done for me is it's just been therapeutic, you know? I would consider myself a temperamental person. I used to have kind of, not mood problems or anger problems, kind of a combination of the both. Because when I get on this thing, I forget everything, you know? I forget all my problems. I forget all the things that I need to do, all the things that are stressing me out. And just the sound of that steady idle of my engine and my fucking badass exhaust is just, it's music to my ears, man. It really changed the way I looked at things. I get frustrated very easily when things don't go my way. And it's you know, it's not the best quality, but I definitely let it get it to myself more than anything else. And so with this bike, it's really taught me to appreciate things that I wouldn't have appreciated in a normal sense. The old me would have never found a way to enjoy that. I would have been too pissed off about, oh, fuck this shit, I'm stuck in line, fuck this idiot driver, blah, 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 blah. Guess what? When you get a bike, all that shit goes away. You don't have to play by those rules anymore. You have your own rules now. It makes you realize how much of a gift life is. My girlfriend works in a hospital, and lately she's been working in the emergency room, and every fucking day now I'm hearing stories about motorcycle accident, this guy's paralyzed from the neck down, this guy lost his foot, this guy guy just died. Like, it sucks hearing about it, it really does. But before I wouldn't have given a shit because I didn't ride, so it's kind of like, oh, well, you know, what do you expect? But after you ride for a while, you start to get it. Like, this is my passion. Like, fuck guitar, fuck computer games, fuck painting, fuck all that shit. Riding, that is what I love to do in my free time. By myself, with other people, going to and from work, no destination in mind, I love it all. When you're on one of these, it is dangerous, I'm not gonna lie, it is. But usually it's only dangerous because of other people. If you take out all the risk factors that you're able to control, it's not gonna be because of you. I don't want these people hearing my bullshit. They gotta subscribe to get that. Ugh.
Really, nigga?
But it makes you realize just how lucky you are to be alive, because, you know, people die and it happens with no notice. You know, everyone kind of just has this fantasy that they're just gonna live out to be fucking 90 years old, and they're gonna have some badass pension plan to rely on, and nothing's gonna hurt, you know, no arthritis, none of that shit. You're just gonna be hanging around playing solitaire all day. Fuck that. That's not what happens, you know? I've almost died on this thing plenty of times. You know, sometimes it's my fault for being a jackass and riding like a dickhead, and then other times it's a car driver's fault for simply just not paying attention, and that's the biggest danger, but that's another story. When I got the bike, it was the very end of September 28th actually, and now I think it's like October 2nd or something, so it's just over a year. Probably not the best time to get a bike, I'm not gonna lie. If you were to get a bike, I would get one around spring, not fall. And the reason I say that is whenever winter comes and it's raining a lot and there's not a lot of other motorcycles out, and it's typically only me and like 3 other guys in Fresno that ride in winter. But that is not the time to be learning how to ride a bike. Not when the roads are wet, not when it's fucking pouring. You really want to learn to ride in good conditions, because that's what I did. I had a vague idea of how to ride. Like, I knew that I've been driving stick shift car for years and years and years, so that part wasn't a problem to me, and I had thousands of miles underneath my belt, so that wasn't a problem either. I knew how other drivers work and, you know, what they do and when they're likely to hit you and all that. I already had that kind of instilled in me just from being a car driver for so long. But definitely getting a bike in fall probably isn't the best idea, because you really want those first 3 or 4 months to just not throw you any curveballs. You know, you're still learning the basics. I had to start riding in the rain with like 2 months of riding under my belt, and on a Gixxer 750 no less. And that wasn't easy, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of times where I'm surprised I didn't crash. If there's ever a time for me to crash, it would be in those conditions, you know? So that's something I would recommend just based off my experience of getting one so late in the year. Magical 41 freeway. We're gonna take the same loop I take in all my other videos when I'm bored in Fresno and don't want to hit red lights. Look at that fucking MotoGP lean. Oh yeah.
Like a boss.
But it's been an awesome year. You know, I've made memories for a lifetime, and you know, I made a decision that really just changed my life. Before I had the motorcycle, I don't know what I did with my free time. I really don't. Wasn't as cool as this, that's for sure. Riding in winter was not fun. Oh my god. I went to Bakersfield from Fresno at 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, somewhere around there, on Thanksgiving, the day before Thanksgiving, and on Christmas Eve. And if you're not familiar with California geography, what the fuck? In the Central Valley, in between Fresno and Bakersfield, it smells like shit. It's one long straight freeway. You'll see a handful of McDonald's and gas stations, and that's it. Other than that, it's fucking nothing. And it's just a long straight road. So making that ride as a new rider, let's do the math here. I probably had 2 to 3 months underneath my belt. I made a 2-hour ride at midnight in the middle of fucking winter when it was like 30 degrees outside. It sucked so much cock, let me tell you. It was so goddamn cold. And I was layered up like a motherfucker too. I had my riding jeans on and I had sweats underneath. I had a long sleeve shirt, a sweatshirt, and my leather jacket. All my gear, winter gloves, all that. Actually, I don't think I had winter gloves. Okay, that's the problem right there. Both times I didn't have winter gloves. I just had these thin, like, summer gloves, and it was not fun. I had to stop in Tulare, which is about the halfway point, and I had to stick my hands behind my fucking exhaust just to get this, just so I could feel them again. Because it was so cold outside, all the wind was hitting my fingers, because if you look here, there's nothing to fucking block it. Just wind. And the worst part of it all, my bike wasn't even hot enough to warm up my hands. It was running under 160 degrees. Which, if you let a Gixxer just idle on a summer day, it's going to be 200 to 220. So the fact that I was doing 70, 80 miles an hour and the bike was still 150 degrees was just sad. The exhaust wasn't hot enough to warm up my hands. That's how fucking cold it was. I was in a rougher period of my life, we'll just put it that way. I was out in Merced, which is an hour north of Fresno. I was having a really bad time. I just wanted to get out and just disappear. So I hopped on the 99 north from Fresno, and I just kept going. I didn't have a destination in mind. I was really depressed at that time. I wasn't doing good. And I was out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm doing fucking like 125 miles an hour on the 99. It's the middle of the night, it's like midnight, there's nobody out there, nobody. I think I ran into like 4 cars the whole time. There's an overpass ahead of me and I go underneath it, and then when I look in my rear view, I see these 2 headlights just right here. And they're just chilling, they're not getting on the freeway, they were just sitting on top of the overpass. You know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who does that. And for whatever reason, I didn't slow down, I kind of just looked and kept going. Keep in mind, I had my mirrors folded in like this because I really don't know why. I was a new rider and I thought it helped when you were going fast. The CHP was right next to me and they were fucking livid because I had no idea they were next to me. So they pull up next to me and they're like yelling on their little megaphone to pull over, and they're shining their spotlight on me, and I'm like, oh, holy shit. And that's kind of when it sunk in that I was fucked. There's no way I was getting out of that. Long story short, I get a speeding ticket. They wrote me for exactly that speed. They didn't mark it down or anything. I ended up going to traffic court. The original offense was a 2-point offense and the base fine was $2,200.
Bruh.
So definitely keep that in mind. If you go over 100 miles an hour, it's about 2 to 3 times the speeding ticket you'd get if you just went 95 miles an hour. Because I was going so fast, I wasn't eligible for traffic school either. I didn't have a speeding ticket on my record before that. I ended up going to traffic court, and because I showed up, he bumped it down to a 1-point offense and gave me a $500 ticket. So I've paid that off. My insurance actually went down after I got the ticket. I don't know how that works, and I'm not going to tell them about that either. We're just going to let it be. Maybe they want me to go fast. If you don't have a reason to be going over 100 miles an hour and you plan on pulling over, don't go 100 miles an hour or more than that. There's just fucking no reason to, especially with how stiff the fines are nowadays. Woo! A bumpy ass road. So that was definitely a lesson learned. I actually haven't gotten another major ticket since then. I got a speeding ticket, or not a speeding ticket, a fix-it ticket from the CHP for my license plate about a month later, which actually, I was doing 125 down the freeway again, racing with my buddy at the time, and he pulled him over, and I was about 200 feet ahead of him, and we were getting off on an off-ramp, and I had a split-second decision. I was like, I could have easily taken off because my license plate wasn't visible, and I was way out of eyesight. I was pretty far ahead of my buddy. But obviously, I'm not gonna risk getting a felony if I don't need to, because I have a job and I go to school and all that good shit, and I want a good job. So no reason getting a felony over a license plate. So again, it's the CHP. They get out of their car, they're fucking screaming. They're so mad. They get out and they're instantly yelling at us. You will respect my authority. You fucking boys and your goddamn bikes, what are you doing 120 down the 41 racing each other? Blah, 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 blah. And he is just unloading on us, and we're just staying there silent. We don't say a fucking word. Yes sir, yes sir, no sir, yes sir. You know, just don't fucking rape my asshole, please. They go back to their car. My buddy doesn't have insurance, he doesn't have registration, and he does not have an M1 driver's license.
Really, nigga?
You know what they did? And we're doing 125 down the 41, lane splitting cars racing each other, which is, I would call that reckless driving for sure. And he comes back, and he knew I already had a speeding ticket. He saw it on my record. He gives me a fix-it ticket from my license plate, tells me to go home. He doesn't impound my buddy's bike, doesn't give him any more than a fix-it ticket, tells him to go get his M1 license, and that's it. Holy fucking shit. If you do that, and the CHP catches you doing that, and you already have a speeding ticket for going over 100 miles an hour, and he lets you off with a goddamn fix-it ticket for your license plate, I thought I was getting my bike impounded that night. I was so sad. I should have bought a lottery ticket. I don't know why I did. I fully expected to get my ass completely reamed wide open by the CHP, so really thankful that they didn't do that. That was really cool. So those are just some of the experiences I've had this past year of riding. I definitely learned a lot. I hope to keep riding. Hopefully I don't die or get hurt or anything. Man, it has been a year. Oh, and I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat, that's for sure. I think the funniest thing for me too is when I was at Clausen and I was about to sign the paperwork, before I did everything except for the signature, and I just stopped. And that was really when the reality of the situation set in. I started to realize, like, holy shit, like if I sign this paper, not only do I have debt hanging over my head, but I'm also risking my life because I didn't have a car, so I knew that if I got the bike, it was going to be only the bike for a long time. And it was just crazy. Just the reality of the situation set in. You know, I knew when I signed on that dotted line that was it, that my life was going to be changed just off that one signature. And it was. And it continues to this day. You know? And I wouldn't have it any other way. I love riding. I love my bike. I love what I do. I really do. And the best part is I get to film it and edit it and upload it, and people like you watch it, and I get to make a nice little amount of cash on the side just for doing what I love. It doesn't get better than that.